The realist in me is not a very India fond person. I don't think India is a great country. I think it was at one point. We breed like rabbits. We might not have education, kapda, makan, health, but we will have children. A single politician wants to talk about population control, you will shut him down because it is going against the vote bank politics. So I don't think India is anything great. I feel the adult generation is pretty jaded and they don't have too much to offer. They've run out of steam. But I think the social service sector, which is working with children on the education norms, on health reforms, these are the people who have the potential to make the next 20 years maybe a little better, maybe a little fairer. So, and this is the kind of an arty-farty thing to say in the end. And I'm not religious at all, but I have half a feet in spiritualism. What is great about India, I feel, is that we have this book called the Gita. And I would address that to somebody like you who has so much angst. I think you should do your job and forget about the big picture. Change kab aayega, when will change come, will I live to see it, will my child have a better future, forget it. Do your job, get linkages, make networks, take it from A to B and forget about it. If it happens in your lifetime, great. If it doesn't happen, you did your job, you will die a happy man. And that's a philosophy which I think any smart social service activist will take it. Okay? It allows you the freedom of action to do your work on a sustainable level. So I think any organization that teaches fundraising activities to small organizations is a very, very important job to be done. Because money allows every organization to build up their capacity to be, like the example which you said and you said. A policeman on the road who works on Diwali, who works on New Year's Eve, who works on Christmas, who works night shifts, who, if there is a VIP car Conclave going, is the core change which is required. Because if the police is well satisfied, well paid, well motivated, then you have an avenue where you might find a larger number of honest people than what you have now. That's all. Thank you, Megha. Now I'll request Jerry to please have it.
Thank you, Sangeeta. I think what I'll do is I'll just share a few personal examples because without giving any heavy yarn, just make it simple. Hollywood's favorite line is that everybody understands the role of the gun. I think it's time that everybody understood the role of the mobile with the camera in it. I'll tell you how I use it. As far as citizen media is concerned, we have a portal called iDecision, so we are also kind of trying to create systems. Again, to quote Hollywood, money talks and bullshit walks. But I don't think money is the most important thing. What is important is the passion and the commitment and the courage of conviction to do what you want to do. And like she said, it's your karma, just do it and let it be out there and let people pick it up. Having said that, I'll just talk about what the most inconvenient truth is today. The cynic, the idealist and the realist in me thinks that India is a very great country. But India is a very great country with very, very poor citizens. When I say poor, I'm not talking about poor because of money. Poor because of the citizen apathy. Poor because every citizen is corrupt. When I say every citizen is corrupt, for the simple reason that every citizen will not take that stand or speak out against any wrong, even if it is affecting her or him. Yeah, now that's a basic point I would like to make. When we first started forming ICONGO and the Right Every Wrong movement, we said, what is good governance? What is CSR? It's not corporate social responsibility. Good governance, everybody thinks, is about government. Good governance is about you as citizens, you know. CSR is citizen social responsibility. So that's the reason we kind of said it is all about citizen action. Don't expect the man on top to not be corrupt when you put him up there and then turn the other way when they're doing everything wrong. If you have a puppet in the president's position today, and I say it openly, I don't follow her and we would never have her in our forum, it's because the citizens didn't speak out against it. We fall over each other to call her to a forum and, wait for her for 1 hour. But that's the point. We don't do it. We don't speak out against the system. I'll give you an example. I did a short stint with the Public Health Foundation of India, and I won't name my colleague. A colleague of mine was asked for 8 lakhs capitation fee by EPJ school to get her child into kindergarten. I had just fought the system. I wrote an email and I said, explain to me why we lost out after having all the points that you need, yeah? And why is it that there are 10 names in the entire list which were not there in the original list? They were accountable to me because they're part of the system. They're part of the RTI system. We have a tool called RTI, but how many citizens use it? So the citizen is corrupt. Remo rightly said this on the big fight. When the Scarlet killing case happened, he said, why are we blaming politicians? Why are we blaming bureaucrats? Remo was also Karmavir awardee, and he fought the SEC movement and Goa. And he said, before pointing fingers at them, let's look at it this way. He said, in my village, I asked a guy locally, and I said, who are you voting for, Baba? He said, I'm voting for this fellow. I said, why are you voting for him? That fellow is a smuggler. Why aren't you voting for Professor? In Goa, everything. I'm also Goa. Like, you vote for the professor, you'll never be able to get things done because you can't bribe the fellow. Vote for the corrupt guy to get things done immediately. You want to convert the land from agricultural to non-agricultural property, it'll be done. Because you can vote, bribe the fellow. So the citizen is corrupt, not anybody else. And why do we forget politicians and bureaucrats and everybody over there, right from the Prime Minister to everybody else in that system, is nothing but a citizen first. So if you don't address the corruption in citizenry, nothing can be addressed. Okay, so I gave you one example. So I shared all I did in emails, and I said, question the EPJ system in a similar way. And I said, tell them that you know somebody who knows the people at Tehelka. She says, I'll have to discuss this with my husband. Her husband was a big gun in Ernst & Young. She comes back the next day, and I say, so have you decided? She says, I discussed this with my husband, and my husband says, Cherry to pagal hai, usse wo hi kar sakta hai. Which means the Cherry is mad, only he can do this. We can't do this. We'll pay. They pay. Anyway, that is one. I remember the first Right Every Wrong Conclave, which was done in March 2006. A day before the conclave, you spoke about the cops paying 10 lakhs to get a license. We have a story on iDishum, which is about the porter in Delhi who has to pay around 2.5 lakhs now to get a porter's license. So, so everything is corrupt in this country. Yeah? So I go to this place to get our ATG certificate, which NGOs get. Yeah. And I go and meet the officer because as the settler in the organization, I had to go and do the interview. And I answered him everything. I took all my invites. I showed him the kind of people who are coming, showed him the kind of partners who are involved, Tehelka, Mr. Lingdo coming in, various people who are not just eminent, but people who we believe in because they have done something good for the country, were coming in to speak at the first conclave. 6 lakhs to come. I said, is that right? I said, आपको बताया था हमने क्या पार्टनर है, आपको पूरा रिकॉर्ड किया है मैंने, मैं अभी नीचे जाके तरुण तेजपाल को फोन करता हूँ. And I stormed out of the office. I reached the car, he calls me. क्या साहब ऐसा क्यों करते हो आप? हमारे पेट पे लात मारते हो. You're kicking my stomach. I said, I'm not only going to kick your stomach, I won't get you suspended and forced to resign. Calls me, I get my ATG, but what I'm trying to say is, this is the tool. The email is the tool. You don't have to do much. You don't have to go and do jandabazi anymore. You don't have to go out with campaign, lights and wearing your Louis Vuittons and Gucci's anymore on the streets. All you need to do is do a movement. It's called e-governance, and this is citizen e-governance. What you need to do is gather a momentum of people and just get it going. And you need to question the system. Until and unless you question the system, it won't work. I remember another instance, going for my son's passport. I stood in line for 3 days because every time the line doesn't move. And they have big boards outside which says, no, please do not entertain any touts or agents. This is the word they use, touts. And inside, the passport